specific channeling. I've actually just done a pick a pal reading for the month of July 2025, which, as I mentioned in that reading, is going to be a highly anticipated month full of planetary transits and various retrogrades, and something about the opening. There's going to be a lot of potential energy that will be hovering above this month, where specifically we are going to be given the test of fear or love, the past or the present slash future, remembering that we bring our future towards us from the present moment that we live in. As per the title, I believe that we will be facing a lot of past energy returning because, and I mean, if you're watching this, chances are you have heard this multiple times from other intuitives who have described how, and I mean, this is also a science thing. They've described how when you pull further and further away from something, the potential energy between you and the thing that was attaching you somehow grows stronger just before it actually snaps. It's also, I believe, the same science behind how when you feel furthest away from your dreams coming true is when, ironically, you know that your dreams are actually right around the corner. You know that trick? So it feels like something along those lines is going to be happening, as I mentioned, this month, but also following the timeless intention I placed on this video, the week or following weeks from whenever it is that you watch this video. So I'm making this and doing this so that you please stay aware, not scared and not fearful, but aware of the fact that tests are incoming. Very testy tests, very challenging in the sense that it's going to require a lot of discernment from you and a lot of remembering who it is that you want to be. A lot of holding on to the present moment. I apologize for my signal. I see that it's dropped. A lot of being present in the present moment, and doing your best to make decisions from the present moment, not from fear and not from love. It doesn't matter which one you choose, actually, fear or love, as long as you're choosing from the present moment, and regardless of what you choose, really, actually, every decision you make will be correct. I feel like emphasizing now in this moment that we are hovering, that a lot of potential energy is hovering around us. And so it will be like our fear will be personified and taking on the body and forms of a lot of past relationships coming out to test us, to say, and imagine this, a fear monster kind of trying to coax you and keep you. You know, it's like fear has had us on a chain for a very, very long time, and that chain's been lodged tight, and we are so close to breaking it with our own hands and our own fingernails. We've been scratching at this for such a long time. We are so close, and fear is going, no, stay. Just a little longer. Just a little bit longer. No. You're almost there. No, stay here with me. And the panic of that, the panic of your past and your X paradigm, trying to stop you from moving forward into your Y paradigm of love and new earth and all of that, happy vibes. There's a panic with that, so that may even be a frequency that shows itself in your past connections and people who, in your tests, and people who try to, who may try to convince you out of a certainty that you may feel, who may try to influence you. Please be aware of that. Anyone trying to affect your free will or change the way you think or say, no, what you're thinking and feeling is wrong. What I think and feel is right. So listen to me. I'm feeling into the possibility that those are the kind of tests that are going to come about. And these tests will be especially nuanced because it's not going to come as a directly like narcissistic attack that says, no, you're wrong, I'm right. It may come under the guise of, I believe I know what's best for you because I love you. Don't you trust that I love you? Those kind of things, you know? And it's likely that it may come from someone who others or people, or it may come from within you. We have to be open to that possibility as well. It may come from types of people who haven't usually displayed any like weird narcissistic behaviors in the past, so that again, discernment will be entirely necessary. It's going to be a bit confusing and unsettling because you won't be sure whether or not you're making the right decision. But that's why I'd mentioned in and amongst all of this yapping that I've been doing so far, that it technically is it remains true regardless of anything, that you are always making the right decision. This always remains true. This is an actual, persistent, scientific fact. There is no evidence that you are ever making the wrong call for your life. It's finding evidence for that is not possible. So if by chance you do find yourself freaking out about whether or not you're making the right call, just trust that you are, and trust that you're always protected, and whatever consequences may arrive from whatever decision you end up making, trust the fact that these consequences were necessary for you to experience, so that you could learn and grow and change. This is very different from me trying to romanticize suffering or pain or traumatizing experiences. Trauma is trauma, pain is pain, and should the consequences that arrive from the choices you make end up being painful ones, then process that pain as pain. Don't try to alchemize it in the moment that you experience the pain. Pain is pain, trauma is trauma. Nothing, no romanticism can change that in the moment you're experiencing it. Please be aware of that and give respect to your feelings. I'm going to pull cards to get some clarity on the kind of tests that may arise and on how to handle specifically this frequency of pasts revisiting that are coming as tests and not, pasts appearing into your life as tests and not as things that you should revisit or return to. I also want to make it clear though that it does feel like there's a thin line of a possibility of realities and time frames that may appear where it will be necessary to revisit and it will be necessary to return to those things, either to clear it out or to or for those things that are revisiting to take on new shape and form in your life. I did actually do a reading on this frequency a few weeks ago, I think. I will link that reading in the description to help you further understand energies about the past revisiting, but I'm going to take this frequency on its own now. Should you feel called, stick around and let us find out what these next few weeks have for you. For us all, by the way, because, yeah, I do feel like this is a largely collective thing. Lots of cards. Which I will take as they are, since this is a very specific channeling. I'm going to take all of them. Normally I'd put them all back, but these are all saying things. Interesting. Wow. All right, we've got a story on our hands. I'm going to clear the floor so that I can get to it. So the One of Rods and the High Priestess in reverse fell out separately by themselves as their own energy. And then we have 5 cards that followed up on the floor. Various, each reverse, some upright. I'd like to tap into the High Priestess and the One of Rods in reverse separately. First of all, because they appeared majorly like boom, boom, boom. And then should we need clarification, I'll explore the follow-up cards. The One of Rods in reverse speaks of too many half-realized projects, inability to deal with chaos, potential and talent wasted in small schemes or inappropriate work, ambition, the underlying motivation behind which is suspect. And then the High Priestess in reverse speaks of creative blocks, anger, frustration, denial of your potential and deepest feelings leading to unhappiness, addiction, passive aggression, or self-directed violence, lack of foresight and empathy, inability to listen or take advice, loss of spiritual connection, lack of integrity, a parasite who will drain you, leading you into a psychic wilderness through its lack of substance and inner truth, which speaks to, I think, the energy at large of the revisiting, which is all exactly why, I'm using revisiting and not returning to the past interchangeably, and I shouldn't be. But all in all, I think what I'm trying to say is that I believe that these cards falling out support the title, support what I've put in the title, which is use your discernment. Do not be fooled. With the Emperor and the Two of Discs and the Eight of Rods falling out together like this, notwithstanding the other two reverse cards, the Seven of Cups and the Page of Cups, I'm receiving that whoever is likely to return is some ex, a masculine figure or a man, someone who used to make you feel very, very safe. And so this is part of why discernment is tricky, because it's going to be very hard to directly tell whether or not this person is actually not good for you. However, with especially the High Priestess in reverse and that sentence, a parasite who will drain you, leading you into a psychic wilderness through its lack of substance and inner truth. Yeah. Something about this person or the situation returning into your life is only returning so that it can drain more of you and bring you back to a level of uncertainty that you have done a lot of work to walk away from and to walk into a level of certainty within yourself. It feels like your sense of self will be tested. The things that you used to want, that you were so sure, it feels like you just made a very final decision on what you want for yourself, on the kinds of things you want for yourself and the kind of experiences you deserve. And whatever is revisiting is going to test that and really poke at it. And it may, as I felt into before pulling these cards, lead you into a very tempting level of uncertainty that so it feels like what this past returning is going to look very fated, and that fated situation is going to make you very, very unsure. Like there is a famous Australian influencer who's just recently went through a divorce with somebody who, when they met, they had shared all sorts of really wild similarities. She even posted about this in a vlog saying, we have so many really cool synchronicities that have happened that are making me certain of the fact that me and this person will never break up. Like, this is it. This is the end. She was so sure of it, only for them to break up literally 6 months later. So that kind of thing. These synchronicities, these fated events and occurrences. It may even be possible that you two meet up and then you end up finishing each other's sentences, and it's just, wow, it's amazing for you. Only for it all to be a test in the end either way, only for this person to be a parasite. And with the suggestion of half-finished projects, it feels as though what part of the reason why this test is coming out in the first place is because you may have made a very solid decision about yourself just now, or about your life, or about what you want, that you've done before. You've made this decision before, and when you last made it, it's as if you weren't serious about it. Now it's time to get very, very serious. And these tests that are incoming are going to allow you to set that seriousness in stone. Like I said, please trust yourself and trust how you feel. Check in with your energy levels. If you feel a shift, or some new person comes into your life, some new situation comes into your life, and you can even practice this with doing it every day or with every moment that you come across, even with meals that you eat. Try to always check in with your energy levels. See how awake or happy or joyful you feel, or how tired, drained, depressed, and exhausted you feel after a meal, after talking to someone, after listening to a kind of music, after watching a show, anything. Practice checking in with that so that you can tell what your body is trying to tell you about that meal that you ate, or that show that you watched, or that conversation you had, or that person you spoke to. Feels like your body's going to be putting its effort into communicating with you through these tests, which is to remind you that you won't be alone through these tests and through the need to discern. You won't be alone through them. Your body will be there to signal to you and to speak to you. But you are going to be tasked, I think as well, this speaks to the Emperor falling out in general. You will be tasked with the responsibility to listen in on your body more than you may be used to, more than you ever have. It's going to be a real test of intuition and discernment. I'm going to read into the Seven of Cups now. The Seven of Cups in reverse, which speaks of fantasies that are never put to the test of reality, grandiose schemes with no practical application of energy to manifest them. Choice is offered, but the least challenging road is taken. Both of these cards saying the exact same, touching into the exact same frequency of fantasies that are never put to the test of reality. And I'd like to tap once again into the exact words that are used in the One of Rods in reverse. It says, too many half-realized projects. So, yeah, I'm really tapping into the fact that you made a decision. You recently made a very solid decision and you felt very confident in it. And you made it by yourself, by the way, so that there's no one who can really corroborate with this decision you made besides you, your angels, your God. And I no longer remember whether, it was, yes. So, and that is why these things are going to they're going to have such an energy of fatedness and coincidence, because it will be a direct test from God. And no one else sets up better coincidences for you, better synchronicities and wows like God does. It's really only God who can do that. It's only God who can set up moments of incredible synchronicity that can test you and make you feel unsure. Nobody else is supposed to make you feel unsure, by the way. Only God is allowed to do that. And your universe and, your external happenstances. But no other single person is allowed to test your free will and make you unsure of yourself. I'm going to tap into the Page of Cups in reverse now. The Page of Cups in reverse speaks of a siren call into a psychic neverland, fear of vulnerability or failure leading to withdrawal, stultification, failure, blocked sexuality causing eating disorders and other problems, ferocious hidden anger and denial, emotional immaturity. And this feels like what may be on the other side of you. It feels like you may be overcome with emotions like this. This is part of how you will know if you're making the wrong decision, or if you're steering away from your truth, or if you're like misaligned. All of these quoted to explain the fact that you are you are always going to be connected and tapped in to your truth through your body signals and through your emotional signals. You're never going to be alone through these tests of discernment, through your intuition being tested. You will never be alone through these periods. If ever you feel lost or confused, which with all of these cards falling out, you may feel so. You may feel drawn to do things from a place that doesn't make any sense to you. You may feel called to function on autopilot. You may be caught in moments of projection, or all of these emotions may be things that you feel will be put on you from other people. Either way, your body, through all of that, even if you are the one who goes through moments of projection and autopilot, your body will always be available for you to let you know the truth. So for the most part, all you will really need is to tap into yourself, your inner authority, and remember that you will be your own best, ideal masculine energy, sense of assertiveness or authority. You have everything you want. I mean, everything you can command your own reality, your own self, the way you feel, etc., etc. All your choices, they're all up to you. No one can influence your decisions. Not the way you can. No one should have that kind of influence over you and your decisions. But again, with these two cards falling out together, I feel it's very important to make room for the revival of a lot of past things that are not there. They're not sorry, I need to ground myself. They are not revived for the sake of you revisiting them and rehashing them fully. They're not there for that. They're there to test you so that you can move with a better authority in your life and really get to know who it is that you are. These two cards together also speak of an emotional immaturity, right? According to the interpretations that I've just read, I hope that, I'm paraphrasing via the sentences that link between the two of them, but from what I remember, they're both speaking of a kind of suppressing of emotions that comes out in the form of anger, frustration, a kind of draining energy. So yeah, again, I remind you to please pay attention to the way your body feels when you do things or talk to people, moment to moment. It does feel like linking all of this together with these two cards that speak of the emotional maturity. Please be aware of making too hasty decisions in general this year, given how many planets are in retrograde, but especially with all the tests that are due to come out for all of us. But for you included, should you be watching this and you feel like what I've said resonates so far, it feels like there's going to be a lot of emotion in the air that might pull you to make decisions from a not very present place. And again, I remind you that is the best place to make decisions from presence. Don't worry so much about love or fear if you can't really find the true frequency of either of those things within you. Just try to take a deep breath and make sure that in each moment, regardless of how you feel, love or fear, you are as present as possible. I'm going to pull out one more card and then close this energy, because I also do feel that while it is that the choice is in your hands, what's going to happen will happen anyway. And even if it happens that you make like some backwards decision now, or you make some decision that misaligns you, or whatever could happen, we always have a chance to return back onto path. The light is always available for us to tap into, regardless of anything. So you'll never be setting yourself back, ever, regardless of anything. I say again, you can never ever set yourself back. And technically, you can never be in misalignment either. You are always in alignment, even when you are misaligned. Wow. So I've picked up all three cards in reverse. The Tower, the Page of Discs, the Magician, and the Tower. The Magician, if I'm not mistaken, and the Tower, and with these two cards all together, the High Priestess and the Page of Cups in reverse, all of them speak of somebody who is emotionally mature, who is overridden with emotion, so much so that they make very ill-rooted decisions, ill-intentioned decisions, someone who's generally very mean, manipulative, narcissistic, someone who does not respect the will of others. That vibe and energy of manipulation is really coming to the forefront here. So a lot of trickster energy, very much what the Seven of Cups gives, upright. And just by the way, touching on that, the Seven of Cups, I know it fell out in reverse, but upright, this card has the sentence, logic is not the best way to decide this answer. And I feel like, again, considering who you may be dealing with who could bring this energy to you, or the situation itself, very trickstery, very difficult to actually discern and tell what's what. And it may really confuse you and set you off. Or you may project all of these emotional imbalances onto other people because you are confused. And you may feel or be behaving, may feel quickly, impulsively inspired to behave from a place of real inner confusion and a psychic imbalance. Please remember to meditate, and remember to value everything, value and uphold, honor every emotion, value and honor everything you feel. And know that through any of these things, should you be the one to project any emotional immaturity, manipulation, etc., know that you'll always be forgiven. We're all human. As long as you can try to intend on improving, being better, then you'll find a true forgiving frequency and a frequency of peace. We're all deserving of that, regardless of what we've done. I'd like to tap into the Tower in reverse. So this card speaks of a failure of vision leading to undoing, a traumatic event that seems to offer no resolution or light, illusions destroyed, the mind overset by too many trials, falling apart, disaster that could have been averted. So because I trust that I'm more than likely reading for people who are aware of themselves and who have good intentions, I do feel that this may be something that is projected onto you by some external someone, or someone going through something like this who just generally does not listen, is not very good at being tapped in, somebody who does behave from a place of wanting to take but never give, someone who is not aware of loving transaction, where you give to someone you love because you love them, that kind of thing. You may be affected by someone like that in your life. Like I said, I trust that I'm reading for good people. My audience generally doesn't have that far of a reach right now, and so I trust anyone who intentionally tunes into my work is intentional and present, intentional from a place of love. So this is highly likely someone who is going to come revisit from a past, or a situation that'll come from the past that either made you feel that way and is due to make you feel all of this again, this chaos, this psychic upheaval, someone who is not balanced within them, and when they come into your life, they imbalance you too. I have someone in my life exactly like this, who every time he comes back into my life, while he is incredibly impactful and he has very intense things to say a lot of the time, they just mostly confuse the fuck out of me. They bring total chaos into my life. When he speaks, I do not feel certain. I feel largely manipulated. And I don't feel peaceful. And I just want peace. So speaking from experience, I hope that I can pass this test. And I know every time he comes into my life, it's a damn test. So I'm going to read the Magician in reverse just to tap into that frequency and make sure that I've read all of that right. Because again, this is a very nuanced energy, especially in this deck. The Magician in reverse speaks of misuse of talent such as persuasion, a tendency to ride roughshod over others, power for its own sake, greed, willpower misdirected, the flow of energy blocked, leading to feelings of dread, fear, and instability. And in all of these reverse cards, the High Priestess and the Magician have the most similar frequency due to how upright they are. Very powerful individuals. They give off a very powerful I control the elements, I control myself vibe. Reverse, both of these cards and individuals are very dangerous because instead of focusing on trying to control themselves, they are trying to control others so that they can feel more powerful. Beware of anyone trying to source their power from you. Beware of anyone trying to manipulate you, specifically that whole narcissistic frequency where they love bomb you or they compliment you or they do things like I'm doing this. They say things like I'm doing this because I love you, but what they're doing reflects in no way any form of love. Or they tell you one minute that they love you and that they want to, that they love you, they idolize you, whatever. Then the next day or the following few moments, whatever they do, whatever they say, however they treat you, does not at all reflect that. I want to link this to a workplace just so that I can broaden the frequency and so that we can all be on the same page. Like a workplace employer calling you back to their work and explaining, yes, we really value your work and we value the way that you contributed to our company. But then the amount that they're willing to pay you, the hours that they want you to work, the work that they give you in relation to the money they're willing to pay you does not at all reflect that. So discernment is absolutely required here, and an understanding that you have all of the wisdom and assertion power you need. You just have to, make the decision, make the call, and be serious about what it is that you just decided. Again, you have made a decision recently. Not sure how recent. I can't really tap into how recent this is, to be honest, but it doesn't feel too far away, and it feels like you'll know when you get tested, but it feels like it's been sitting at the back of your mind. You've made a decision either about the way that you choose to work, the relationships you choose to invest in, or the way that you treat yourself. That has to change. I, for example, have recently made a decision that I need to stick to my mission of discovering the self so that I'm literally deprioritizing romance and romantic relationships. I have promised myself as of today, and I've actually tweeted about this, that I don't want to find myself in love with any person, and I'd like to save that frequency of being in love, which to me in my body translates as a kind of idolizing, staring in awe, that kind of thing, being amazed. I'm reserving that for my own self, for children, and for nature and God's other creations, the sea, the way the world works, all of that. But I no longer want to find myself as of now. While I'm in this stage of self-discovery, I no longer want to find myself in love with other people. And so what may come is a test from the past in the form of someone I used to be very much in love with who will go against the decision I made, probably bring chaos, as I've read, and as I mentioned, probably just really confuse the hell out of me. And I don't feel confused now. So I'm going to make sure I don't feel confused when these tests come. And I hope the same for you. I hope that you can feel into your frequency of certainty. Always remember your truth, who you are, what you intend on for yourself, and everything that you have worked so hard to become, because I'm getting the sense as well that you have worked very hard. And these tests are going to come with a pair of scissors and try to undo all of this wonderful work. Don't let it happen. And even if it does happen, the universe won't let it happen. Because, again, please always remember every decision you make is perfect. And you can trust that above all else. And I hope that that's something you take from this reading, if nothing at all. Thank you for tuning in. I really hope I did this energy justice, and I hope that in some way, should you have chosen to stay through this, that it was helpful. And good luck, Godspeed. And you won't need any of that. You're fine.